COVID-19 testing kits. We need them for everything from diagnosing the sick to avoiding another wave of the virus. But because they're in such high demand, the market has been flooded with low-quality options, leaving administrations and businesses to figure out which ones they need and which ones actually work. To help bring some clarity, HaiKang Life has made this animated guide to everything you need to know about COVID-19 testing kits. First of all, there are two main families of tests: those that test for the virus's genetic material, called genetic tests, and those that test for our body's immune reaction to the virus, called serological tests, or more commonly, antibody tests. Although both tests can be useful, which one you need depends on what you're trying to do. Genetic tests are essentially diagnostic tests. They tell you whether or not someone is infected right now, at the moment of the test. Because they can detect the virus directly, using a larger number of them will give you a clear idea of the COVID-19 situation in your area. That is essential in setting up a solid response, from contact tracing to ordering the right amount of medical equipment, for example. Antibody tests, on the other hand, work indirectly. They don't tell you whether or not someone has the virus, but whether or not their body reacted to it and started producing antibodies. Scientists still don't know exactly how our immune system treats this virus or how long immunity lasts, but if you want to restart your economy, for example, knowing how many people have relative immunity is crucial, and antibody tests will tell you just that. Alright, so now you know about genetic tests and antibody tests. The next question is how to use them. The best performing genetic tests use a method called RT PCR, or real-time polymerase chain reaction, capable of amplifying and detecting the virus genes. The process is simple. First, a medical staff collects a sample of the virus by swabbing someone's nose or throat. The sample is then immediately put into a tube with a special chemical agent, which breaks down the virus to release its genetic material. The tube then needs to be stored at low temperature and transported to a lab. Most molecular biology labs will do. There, in an hour or two, a specialized machine called a thermocycler can process tens or hundreds of tubes at the same time and give you their results. Antibody tests work very differently. Because antibodies travel around our body through blood, they require a blood sample. After collecting the sample, no need for a lab. Mixed with a buffer, it can simply be applied onto the testing kit, and results are given in a matter of minutes. Unlike RT PCR tests, however, these machines only treat one sample at a time. While the world waits for a vaccine that is still months, if not years away, these testing kits are our first and last resort in the fight against the virus. That's why countries like Germany, the United States, China, Russia, or South Korea are all completing thousands and thousands of tests every day. It's crucial, however, to understand when these tests work and when they don't. If you want to detect the virus, RT PCR tests tend to be more reliable than antibody tests. They're the gold standard for diagnostic testing. However, that doesn't mean they get it right every time. Current tests have an especially hard time detecting patients with low levels of the virus or low viral load. When the virus enters your body, it's usually just a few cells, but as it multiplies inside you, the viral load grows, and you start feeling sick. If your immune system reacts properly, then the viral load will start decreasing and your symptoms eventually go away. Some people, however, get infected by the virus but never develop symptoms. These are called asymptomatic carriers, and their viral load stays very low. The problem is that at the very beginning or end of a normal infection, or in the case of an asymptomatic carrier, there simply isn't enough of the virus in the body for tests to work properly. That means results will show up negative even if the patient is actually infected, leading to what is called false negatives. This is a big problem because if you can't detect these invisible carriers, they will continue to spread the virus, risking lives and hurting your economy. It's not all bad news though. Building on nearly 20 years of experience in virus testing, HaiKang Life has been working hard to overcome these challenges. And today, we're proud to present our enhanced RT PCR test, or ERT PCR for short. The ERT PCR test is very similar to an RT PCR test, but it is up to 10 times more sensitive. Here's the same chart as before, showing a typical infection and an asymptomatic infection. A traditional RT PCR test can only detect virus amounts above this line. When testing anything below, it's simply blind. With our enhanced test, however, this limit is much lower, making a whole group of invisible carriers suddenly very visible. This includes the dangerous asymptomatic carriers and recovered patients who might relapse. Not only is our RT PCR a mature and tested technology, with papers in reputable international journals such as the New England Journal of Medicine and the Biochemical and Biophysical Research Communications, it is also very simple to use. No special equipment is needed, and personnel who are already familiar with RT PCR will have no difficulty transitioning to ERT PCR. As the world is now looking to avoid a second or third wave of the pandemic, you can think of our RT PCR test like a super sensitive fire detector. It will ring the alarm even before you see the smoke, helping you avoid disasters before they start. It's simple. Our test is the only one currently available that can detect the virus in all stages of the disease, including asymptomatic superspreaders. If you would like more information about our different tests or a sample to try them out yourselves, just contact us via our website at www.haikanglife.com. Together, let's beat COVID-19. Fight the invisible, save lives.